Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome everyone. It is our August 19th, 2025, 2 o'clock Commissioners Consent Agenda meeting. Let the record reflect that all 5 commissioners are present. It is a bit of an unusual meeting today because we will do a lot of items taken separately, and we will need to open public comment for each of those items, as we did have a Scribner's error on our agenda. So I will just say bear with me as we go through this agenda today. With that, though, we do have 2 by-leave items that I do want to read into the record. One is item number 8, the notice of public hearing to set a hearing date for Tuesday, September 9th, 2025 at 2 o'clock in the matter of the annexation of property into Spokane County Fire Protection District number 8. And number 9 is a resolution in the matter of acknowledging the selection of appointment by the Kalispel Tribe to the Spokane Regional Health District Board of Health, and the appointment of an elected official from a city town within Spokane County to be on the Spokane Regional Health District Board of Health, consistent with RCW number 25-0335. In addition to that, we are going to be striking on item 7B, the parcel number 45154.3101 and 45191.0906. So that will be stricken from our public hearing item on number 7B.
Madam Chair, and just to clarify, you're moving to strike a portion of 7B, just property number 5, that parcel number. The remaining property numbers will go forward.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, then, just getting all that out of the way, as we will be taking most everything separately today, I will ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That will take us to open public forum. I do have 2 people that have signed up for open public forum. So we will start with Becky Dickerhoof.
Becky Dickerhoof, Spokane City. This past Sunday, the Spokesman Review published an article from the Bloomberg editorial board in their response to current events in Washington, D.C. They spoke about the homeless crisis in our nation. Much like our own county, communities around the U.S. are struggling in how to best serve the residents and constituents who are caught up in this economic hurricane. I quote, "Casting the homeless as nothing more than a public nuisance understates the crisis and diverts money and attention from the broader solutions that are needed. Encampments are only the visible edge of a wider emergency. Roughly 2/3 of unhoused Americans spend nights in cars, motels, or overcrowded shelters. From 2023 to 2024, the number of people experiencing homelessness nationally jumped 18%, with the fastest growth among families. Behind those numbers is a structural shortage of low-rent homes, more than 7 million units by the latest count. While Medicaid and mental health systems remain threadbare and under attack from the administration, there are no quick fixes, but progress is possible. All successful programs recognize that stable shelter is essential. A settled address is a place to sleep in safety, use medicines as directed, and store important documents and belongings. Randomized trials have shown that housing-first approaches, especially when linked with health and other services, work better for many of the homeless and far less expensively than rotating people through emergency wards and county jails. Federal housing vouchers, which help offset housing costs for some 2 million low-income households, are effective, but demand dwarfs supply and most eligible families never get them. Studies show vouchers don't deter work, and the cost is less than what would otherwise be spent on recurring emergency room visits, police interventions, and stays in jail. Tackling chronic street homelessness is harder because mental illness and drug addiction play a bigger role. However, those who fall into that category are the ones that are currently facing the most violent response to their existence. Money is being funneled to incarceration instead of mental health care, permanent shelter, and support systems. The public's impatience with homelessness and the disorder that goes with it is justified, but simply hiding the homeless isn't the answer. The right kind of help, housing plus treatment and other services, isn't just more humane. Anything less is bound to fail. As a county, we can no longer look to federal resources to solve our homeless crisis. I'm here today to ask the county commissioners to enact what is commonly referred to as the 1590 tax. This ordinance, which amended RCW 82.14.530, allows a county legislative authority to impose a sales and use tax not to exceed 0.1% of the selling price in the case of a sales tax or value of the article used in case of a use tax. This will allow the county to create more homes for the unsheltered. At least 60% of that money must be used for the construction of housing and related services. The balance must be used for the operation, delivery, or services related to housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Julia McHugh.
Good afternoon. Julia McHugh, Palisades Neighborhood, West Plains, living on a contaminated well. I may be jumping the gun here. Some good news that's been let out. One is that there's a Safe Water Task Force that's actually taking shape with Dr. Velasquez, the Spokane Regional Health District Director, heading it up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, we understand that there is, as previously requested long ago, the West Plains Aquifer Protection Area ballot issue for next August, which is excellent news, and we want to make sure that you include Airway Heights, Medical Lake, Cheney, and Four Lakes, since we're all out there together. Also, we are hurraying the state budget item of $7.8 million that is to be applied to filtration systems for those of us who are living on PFAS contaminated wells. And to that end, I've checked in with Fairchild Air Force Base, and these are the as-built of the systems that they provide for their down gradient impacted properties. And that's what we'll be looking for, a serious filtration systems for a serious problem. Very impressive, and that's what we'll be looking for. Also, we're saying hooray, there's a new airport CEO. We hope that he will be fully informed about the West Plains Aquifer system and also be fully supportive of cost sharing the filtration, because $7.8 million is just really the tip of the iceberg of what's needed out there. So please encourage him, and if he would like to come to us, we'd love to inform him about the chronology of things since November of 2017, when the airport first knew about the PFAS, up through today and all this extra good news. Let's see. Also, the comp plan, the 20-year comp plan is being formulated. A lot of it's sort of in the shadows, but this we're expecting will protect the aquifer protection area, aquifer recharge areas. We also need that the aquifer susceptibility map needs to be redone, and the critical area ordinance for the aquifers needs to be updated, identifying contaminated zones on the West Plains, etc., all the other problems we have out there. And then finally, in this massive problem about housing, this is off aquifer topic, but please take a look at the hundreds, thousands of square footage of existing commercial and industrial properties that are adjacent to transit, adjacent to services, adjacent to all kinds of things. Please look at repurposing those, because that is really the fastest route to solving some of these massive problems. Thank you all for your efforts towards the West Plains. We really appreciate it, and we are here to help, as I've said previous 16 times I've been in front of this group. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to testify at the open public forum? This is my third and final call for anyone wishing to testify at the open public forum. Seeing no one online and no one else in the audience, I will close the open public forum. We will take separately item 3A, which is a proclamation. Once we read the motion, I will be opening up for public comment, which will be separate than the sheriff. since the proclamation did not hit our agenda until Friday, just as a title, not with the full proclamation, so I will open it up for public comment at that point.
Madam Chair, I would like to read this proclamation in the form of a motion. Whereas the Spokane County Board of Commissioners solemnly acknowledges the profound loss of Sergeant Ken Salas of the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, who was tragically killed in the line of duty on August 9th, 2025. And whereas Sergeant Kenneth Salas began his 34-year law enforcement career as a Spokane County Corrections Officer before joining the Spokane County Sheriff's Office as a patrol deputy. And whereas throughout his career, Sergeant Salas served in numerous assignments, including patrol, school resource deputy, traffic unit, and the emergency operations team, demonstrating versatility, leadership, and a steadfast commitment to public safety. And whereas in 2004, Sergeant Salas earned the rank of Detective Corporal, and in 2009, he was promoted to the rank of Sergeant, where he served as the Downtown Day Shift Patrol Sergeant Supervisor, mentoring deputies and ensuring the safety of Spokane's urban core. And whereas Sergeant Salas also honorably served his country as a veteran of the United States Air Force and the Washington State Air National Guard, retiring at the rank of Technical Sergeant, continuing a life of service that extended beyond his law enforcement duties. And whereas on the morning of August 9th, 2025, Sergeant Salas was struck and fatally injured by a motorcyclist while assisting a motorist and removing debris from Interstate 90 near the Four Lakes exit, an act of selfless service that ultimately cost him his life. And whereas Sergeant Salas was planning to retire the following month, leaving behind a legacy of leadership, compassion, and bravery that will be remembered by his colleagues, the community, and all who knew him. And now, therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners of Spokane County, Washington, on behalf of the citizens of Spokane County, do hereby proclaim our dearest gratitude and respect for the life, service, and selfless sacrifice of Sergeant Ken Salas, and extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. And be it further proclaimed that flags at the Spokane County Courthouse shall remain at half-staff until 3 days following Sergeant Salas's memorial service in solemn tribute to his memory and in recognition of his ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, since this was just a title on our agenda as of Friday that was printed, I do have to open this up for public comment. So if there's anyone that would like to testify for public comment, first call, second call, third and final call. I will close the public comment and look to my fellow commissioners to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Now I'd like to ask Sheriff John Knowles to come up and say a few words.
So, Commissioners, on behalf of Ken's spouse and on behalf of the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, I want to thank you for making this very public statement honoring Ken and honoring his sacrifice. As you and most of the public are aware, when you put on a uniform, you put a star on your uniform, and you swear an oath to protect this community. They do it, all the men and women, and specifically Sergeant Salas, do so with the desire to serve others. And Ken lost his life doing just that. He was out helping clear I-90 of a traffic obstruction, trying to make sure that no collisions or any accidents occurred as a result of the debris being in the roadway. It is something Ken has likely done hundreds of times, if not thousands of times in his 30-year career. And it is something that our law enforcement officers across the state do day in and day out. And It is tragic that this is something he lost his life doing. However, I think that the public outpouring and certainly the support from all of you as commissioners, acknowledging that sacrifice and acknowledging a career full of service to the community will go a long way with helping his wife heal through the tragedy that has befallen her. It's certainly this very public showing of support for Ken and for our law enforcement here in Spokane County and in our community will go a long ways with the men and women who show up every morning. They make sacrifices on behalf of themselves and on their families, and to know that they have a community and elected officials who are behind them and support them means more than you could ever imagine. I thank you for this. I will make sure that our law enforcement family knows just how deeply you're feeling this loss of Sergeant Solis and how much you support them every day. Again, I lost a friend on Saturday, someone who I worked side by side with for a lot of years. And I've shared publicly that just the day before Ken was killed, he was in my office talking to me about his retirement plans and that he was at peace with his decision to stop his life as a peace officer and go into retirement. And there is one bright spot in all of this. It would be that Ken was at peace. And as you can imagine, when a person who's spent 34 years and 20 years in the military serving their communities, that separating that part of your identity can be difficult. And I knew it was something that Ken was struggling with. But in that moment, he was at peace. And so for him, I'm happy that he had found that peace. And just know that we as the Sheriff's Office are going to do everything we can to support Ken's wife going forward, and that we will continue showing up every day, putting on our uniforms, making sure that we're doing everything we can mitigate risks to ourselves and to the community, and that we will forever be dedicated to keeping our community safe. And I want to thank you for your public support.
So Sheriff, I just want to say thank you. We will present this to you, as well as we have a copy that we'll be presenting to Sergeant Solis's wife right before the memorial service tomorrow.
Thank you. That will mean a tremendous amount to her.
Thank you. So we will go down and present this to the sheriff and take a photo.
And for the commissioners and for the public in general, I would remind everyone that if they would like to participate in honoring Sergeant Solis, there's a memorial service for him tomorrow at 1 o'clock at the Spokane Convention Center. It is open to the public, and it's a fantastic way to honor Ken and his sacrifice. And we would appreciate anybody who wants to extend their gratitude for his service. Please come. Thank you.
And would you like to talk about the procession that's going to happen prior to the service?
Yes, there will be a law enforcement and first responder procession that will occur leading up to the event. And it is open to law enforcement officials and the family, and there will be firefighters as well. We do expect agencies from all across the state and even some from across the country to participate. And the public will be able to be at the venue itself as the procession arrives, but they also have every opportunity, if they want to line the route of the procession and show their respects, they could please do that as well.
And will you be sharing that, where the route is?
Yes, it should have been put out in a press release at 11 o'clock this morning, but I haven't seen it myself, but I wasn't looking for it either.
No,
So-
I know you've been a little busy, so it's okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Commissioner French.
Sheriff, I know that there's been a fund established to benefit the family and stuff. You want to share with us how people can contribute to that?
Yes, there's been several public posts. There's a place on our website where people, if they wish to donate to the cost of Sergeant Solis's memorial, we've made it, I hope, abundantly clear to the public that we are by law not allowed to expend public funds on this. And as you can imagine, with potentially 3,000 people showing up, the costs are quite steep. We've had a tremendous outpouring of help from our community, and I think we're on top of that. But if people still wish to make that donation, they can go to our website and follow the links to do that. And we're doing that through SCOPE. It's not funds being given to Spokane County. It's being given to the Sheriff's Community-Oriented Policing Effort, which is a separate 501c3, who will then pay for the expenses related to this service. And then any remaining funds will be given to Ken's wife or any charity that she sees fit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for being here. I know you are very busy right now, and just our condolences to you and the entire team at the Sheriff's Office.
I appreciate it very much. And every single one of you has been very, very supportive of public safety, and it is known and felt by the men and women of the Sheriff's Office. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's going to take us to the other item we're taking lots separately. The next item we're going to take separately is item 5A, and I think Commissioner French would like to read that into the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the boards that I get to sit on representing the county is the Airport Board, and our previous CEO has taken a position in Cleveland, and so the Airport Board has been conducting a search now for almost a year to find a replacement to lead the airport. And after extensive outreach and work on our consultant's behalf, we have the airport board has selected Mr. Dave Herring, who was the previous CEO, or I guess still current CEO for Lincoln, Nebraska. I don't know whether you got the email or not yet, but no, still the current CEO for Lincoln, Nebraska, and will be joining us here in Spokane to lead the activities of Spokane International Airport as we go through and continue the TREX project and the other expansions and of both the facilities and for service, and also Phelps Field and stuff. So, Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we approve the selection of Mr. Dave Herring as the new CEO for Spokane International Airport, Phelps Field, and Spokane International Airport Business Park.
Second.
Thank you. So with that, this again is an item that we didn't have the name in the agenda, so I will be opening up for public comment if anyone would like to comment. And Mr. Herring will let you comment at the end after we approve, similar to what we just did with the sheriff. Second call for anyone wishing to testify on this item. Third and final call. Seeing no one online, no one in the audience, I will close the open public comment and ask for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. So I don't know, from the airport, I see all of you here, so who would like to speak to this item? And so congratulations.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Ezra Eckhart. I'm the current chair of the airport board, and I think I said this last night at the city. I think this is my 4th term as chair since 2020, so I don't know what I did to Al, but he won't let me out of the chair position. And I would like to lead off also by saying thank you to Al for his work on the selection committee. We did receive notice, obviously, that Mr. Crowder was leaving in October. Shortly after Chair CUNY and I were in New York with Mr. Crowder for the bond raise, and the airport went through a very thorough process in selecting a firm to help us find the right candidate. We selected a firm called ADK after we reviewed 3 or 4 different firms. That search kicked off in earnest in the month of January with some scoping in February, and myself and Commissioner French and one other board member went through the down selection of almost 100 candidates down to a little bit less than 20. From that, we narrowed the search down into 5 candidates that we had in-person meetings with and 3 on site in Spokane. And from that, we made the selection of Mr. Herring. He comes with over 25 years of airport experience. He's been the CEO at 2 separate airports, and he is very familiar with economic development. He's very familiar with cold weather operations. He's very familiar with the grant writing process, and I think he will be an excellent leader to help us round out the TREX project, to continue building out the economic impact of the airport overall. And one of the great attributes is that he has a very collaborative focus. So our hope is with both the city and the county and other economic drivers here in the county, he will be a leader for us as we look to grow our region. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dave Herring.
Well, Madam Chair, Commissioners, thank you for the vote of approval and for the opportunity to say a few words. As Ezra indicated, I've had about 25 years in the industry, starting first in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and spending about 13 years there, and then the last 11 or so years in Lincoln. And the opportunity to join the team here in Spokane is truly what I consider a pinnacle moment for my career. It's no secret to everybody on this body that the team that is out at the Spokane Airport is second to none. The professionalism, the talent, and their passion for what they do is known not only here locally, but really throughout the industry. Spokane has an exceptional reputation throughout the industry as an airport. And so it is humbling to think of the opportunity I have now to be able to lead that group, and also truly an honor. But as anybody would tell you, as anybody who's married would tell you, my wife and I are a team, and I certainly could not just hop onto an airport without her approval. And so it was important for us to come out to the area and tour it. And so in early July, both my wife and both of our kids, who are 18 and 22, and so they're not moving with us, but equally as important as part of the decision process, came out and had the chance to tour the area. And while you always hear about the physical beauty of Spokane, I'm very much a talker, as I'm sure you will learn to appreciate. But we asked people about what makes Spokane so special, and to a person, everybody said, well, it's the people. And so in the about 2.5 days that we spent there, that played out immensely. I tell a story about being at dinner one night, and clearly this is a place that was frequented by regulars, because the waitress said, well, I don't recognize you, and I haven't seen you before, which is a little odd, but said, what brings you here? And we said, well, we're here looking for a job, or I'm applying for a job, or I'm just looking at the area. And she spent the next 10 minutes talking about how great Spokane was, completely unsolicited, and more importantly, very welcoming, because I've been in areas where they're proud of their area, but they don't necessarily want new residents. They like open spaces and things like that. This was not that case. This was, Spokane is an amazing place and would welcome you in, and truly made my family and I feel very welcome. So we are excited to be part of this community, and I'm excited to work with all of you in continuing to make Spokane Airport the best in the country, in my opinion.
Well, thank you and congratulations, and
Thank you.
we're excited to have you here. And so this was the final phase of your
Yes, it was.
your commitment. So now you're committed.
Yes,
So,
So-
thank you very much. We're
Absolutely.
very excited.
absolutely. Thank you.
Would you like to come up and maybe we'll come down and we'll get a picture with the chair as well. So Ezra, if you join us. Okay, so then that is going to take us to items number 4, 6, A through T, and 7A through B, with us still striking a motion to strike the property of just parcel number 45191.0906 and 452020528. Is that right? No, I have a different Matt. I'm going to just double check because it's on my cheat sheet and what's on the thing are different.
There were, I believe, 7 properties listed. This is property number 5. The parcel numbers, there's 2 of them. It's parcel numbers 45191.0906 and 45202.0528
Okay.
in item 7B.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I will look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve on today's agenda, item 4A, 6A through T, and item 7A, and then I will read item 7B as it will be adopted, which is in the matter of the sale of surplus county property, assessor parcel numbers 06341.9003, 11102.9004, 2632.9001, 45154.3101, 45201.1049, and finally, parcel number 45204.0173.
Second.
Thank you. Since we did have the Scribner's error on the agenda, I will be opening this up for public comment. So anyone that would like to testify on any of these items that we just mentioned, please come forward. See no one in the audience and no one online. Second call for anyone wishing to testify. Third and final call for anyone wishing to testify. Seeing no one online and no one in the audience, I will close the public testimony and ask for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That then will take us to the by-leave items that we have today. The first one is a notice of public hearing to set a hearing date for Tuesday, September 9th, 2025 at 2:00 p.m. in the matter of the annexation of property into Spokane County Fire Protection District Number 8. So I look for a motion.
Madam Chair, move to approve by leave item number 8 as just stated.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I will open it up for public testimony since this is a by-leave item. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward. Second call for anyone wishing to testify. Seeing no one online, no one in the audience. Third and final time for anyone wishing to testify. Seeing no one, I will close the public testimony and call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passed.
Aye, sorry.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, wait, I can't say that yet. Motion passes unanimously. That will then take us to item number 9, which is in the matter of acknowledging the selection of an appointment by the Kalispel Tribe to the Spokane Regional Health District Board of Health and the appointment of an elected official from a city town within Spokane County to be on the Spokane Regional Health District Board of Health, consistent with resolution number 25-0335. So take a motion.
Madam Chair, I will move to approve by leave item number 9 as just stated.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I do need to open this up to public testimony. And when wishing to testify, please come forward. Second call for anyone wishing to testify. Third and final call for anyone wishing to testify. Seeing no one online and no one in the audience, I am going to close the public testimony and I'll see if there's any other comments.
Are you taking?
Yeah.
Okay.
From us.
So, Madam Chair, I apologize. I had to leave the meeting for about an hour today, so I was unaware we were going to bring forth this by-leave item. And just for a little context, new state law that sets up a whole new process, which we're still kind of figuring out. We're guinea pigs here, that allows a tribe or a tribal health organization to appoint a member to the Board of Health. And then we have adopted our resolution here that then we're able to appoint an elected official. And for every tribal member that is appointed, then there's a elected official from Spokane County that's appointed. And we had a process that we adopted about a month ago to go through that. So I was not aware, because this wasn't noticed on our agenda, that we'd be discussing this today. I believe the Kalispel Tribe put forward a name, and we received that at the health district. And I think the intention was for that new member and whoever we were to appoint to join the board meeting in September. We do have a special board meeting tomorrow that we had to move because of we didn't have a quorum in July. But I was just talking yesterday with the health district's attorney, because we're going to be adopting our bylaws at the health district for this process. And she noted to me that actually in the RCW, it says the Board of Health needs to notify the Indian Health Commission when we get the notification from a tribe or a tribal health entity. And the health administrator notified all of us, which was great, and the Indian Health Commission. But the way I read the RCW and what the bylaws that we plan to pass tomorrow are that the Board of Health in the RCW actually needs to notify the Washington State Indian Health Commission. And I don't believe we've done that yet. So I think we're kind of jumping the gun to appoint someone if the Board of Health hasn't officially appointed this Kalispel tribal member yet. So that's just my concern. I would have brought this up earlier if I knew we were going to be discussing this today, but it wasn't on our regular agenda. And so I would prefer that we just go through our normal process, and that tomorrow the Board of Health passes its bylaws, which outlines the process, and then the Board of Health can officially notify the Indian Health Commission of the Kalispel tribal member. And then next week, we can do our appointment of the elected member. And again, you know, I think we're considering Mr. Cathcart from the city. He's been a great, active, engaged board member. So nothing personal about his name on this document today. I just think we should follow the RCW, or at least make sure we have that cleared up for us.
Thank you. So,
Sorry for the long.
oh no, that's okay.
This RCW has a lot of
Yep, it,
words,
it does.
and we haven't really fully executed this. This is our first time.
Yes, no, agreed. So it came to my attention through our attorney, Mr. Folsom, yesterday that his reading, or Mr. Michaud's reading, was that the health district administrator did notify the Native American Medical Association. State that for me.
The American Indian Health Commission for Washington State.
Thank you. On Friday at 8 a.m. So that is then, I think, what we felt triggered this to happen, because they're supposed to happen simultaneously. So I'm still willing to move forward with this, because I think it's that technicality that we may be going back and forth. But then at least we've done it at the same time. So whenever, if we are saying they're not allowed to be members until September, then they would be members in September as new board members. But I think I want to make sure that we're trying to be ready and simultaneous with these appointments. And so I think again, RCWs that we're all trying to make sure happen correctly to the best of our ability. And so it's my understanding that our attorneys have been in touch with Ms. Folsom from the health district, and so I brought it forward based on the advice of legal. So, and I think, yes, we're all know that Mr. Cathcart is the member of the Spokane City Council, who is the vice chair of the Board of Health. And then as the new RCW passed, we had to remove him from the Board of Health because we didn't have a tribal member. And so I think we knew the process would be to do that. So I'm okay moving forward.
And I will just add that there was to Commissioner CUNY's point, Dr. Thompson did notify the American Indian Health Association for Washington State on Friday morning in an email that Commissioner Waldrop and I and some other folks were CC'd on, and the American Indian Health Commission for Washington State did reply back acknowledging receipt of that appointment on Friday at 1:57 p.m.
Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say we all just became aware, or the full board became aware, that we would be potentially taking a by-leave item this morning, which just means that it's not on the agenda in advance. It kind of comes up later. And so I personally understand Councilmember Cathcart, as I said this morning, would be kind of next in line for consideration by the board. So that's not, the name isn't a surprise to me there. I appreciate his service as mentioned on the health board. I just had asked this morning if Commissioner Waldrop had been kept in the loop as the health chair. The reason I asked that is just to make sure we're all on the same page about these questions and we didn't have a question, and it appears that that was not the case. And so my preference would just be to take this up at our meeting next week and just make sure that the conversation has been had with the health district's attorney about whether the board has provided that notification. But I do want to say, separate and apart from the process questions, I'm really excited to see the Kalispel tribe give us what seems to be a really great name. My understanding is there's a leadership role from Camas Health, so I think that will be a great perspective to add to the board, and I'm supportive of that. But these have been kind of put into one item, so I'm just going to vote according to the process, but I'm excited to see that appointment in particular.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Uh, If you're watching and listening to the dialogue, it probably sounds like we're making spaghetti here on the dais. And the unfortunate thing is that with the way that this legislation has been crafted, has been changed, there are a lot of things that we are discovering and or working out as we go through and try and meet both the letter and spirit of the law. The legislation has created a situation for us where, and this is not to speak negatively about any of the tribes that we have within Spokane County or that get services through Spokane County, but more about the process. The legislation says that if a tribe has ancestral land, part of the reservation within the county, or they hold trust land within the county, that they are entitled to a seat on the board, health board, which I don't have any issue with at all. The challenge is that, as we've recently discovered, the Coeur d'Alene tribe, which is in a different state, has acquired property inside Spokane County and is now converting that land to trust land, which will mean that they also will have a seat on the health board. With the way the legislation is written, a tribe in Nebraska could acquire land in Spokane County, seek to turn it into trust, and then have a seat on the health board. You can see how this will become potentially very problematic for the county. We could have a situation where we've got a significant number of representations on this board that are not residents of Spokane or Spokane County, or even beneficiaries of the services that Spokane County offers. So I am happy to move forward with the motion that we have on the floor, but I just want the community to understand that the way this legislation is written could become very, very problematic for us as a community. And I'm hoping that the legislature will see the wisdom of coming back and fixing this structure so that it's more reflective of the values, the desires, and the wishes of Spokane residents and our tribal partners. Thank you.
Thank you. I think one more thing is, as we've talked about this process and all of that, I would say then procedurally, Dr. Thompson probably should have waited to notify the association prior to the Board of Health passing the bylaws. So that's where it's kind of, this has gotten convoluted procedurally. And I think her sending that notice and getting the response that came back is what has triggered this. And so I will be moving forward with this. So, yeah.
And as stated by Commissioner Jordan, I think you said we do have a meeting tomorrow of the Board of Health, and I think because we are at where we are at based on the notification to the American Indian Health Commission for Washington State, I think it's important that that at that meeting tomorrow, both our cities and towns, as well as that first tribal member, have a voice at that meeting tomorrow.
We will determine that legally after, but, so anyway, any further comment? Yes, if you would like.
I think my concern is that, from what I understand, and I can confirm this, I didn't have time to confirm this before the meeting, is that the tribal member from the Kalispel tribe was told their first meeting was September. They don't have a badge, they don't have anything yet, but I guess we can let them know. It just feels really, the process just seems really, I don't think that person even knows we're meeting tomorrow. So that, I think that they were communicated to about September, and so I guess we'd have to address that.
Yes. I don't know. Again, I'm basing this off the trigger of Dr. Thompson sending the notice. So, so there is a motion, a second on the floor.
Just want to
Further
clarify, my vote is only about the process.
Very good. Okay. All those in favor of item 9, by leave item number 9, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 3-2. Is there any further items to come before the board today? I know. Do I need to open it up for public comment to adjourn today?
Nothing further from me, Commissioner.
Adjourn was listed on the public notice, so we don't need to open that up for public comment. Nothing further from me.
Thank goodness. Thank you. So with that, then, that is the end of our meeting for today. Thank you all very much for being here.